Hey, everybody, and welcome back to All Things Pink, where we discuss all things women over 40. And today I have here with me Miss Carleah Summers, and we're going to be discussing a whole bunch of things regarding resilience, advocacy, and courage.
Out in the open, to the horizon, where your heart can finally breathe. Out in the open, to the horizon, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild. You gotta get out there and explore, baby, let your love run wild, wild, wild.
So, hey, Carleah, it's been so long. Well, at least it feels like it's been so long. How long has it? Like 8 years I've known you?
Yes, it's been a while now. Isn't that crazy? Oh my goodness, time flies.
I know, it's really funny because I was just thinking about that on the drive over here. How long has it been? Well, or at least how long has it been since I've known you and then seen you? And I'm like, we always say like time flies, but man, it also in a way feels like it was like 100 years ago
It does.
that we've been doing
It
work,
does.
kind of in the same realm. So, yeah, we've known each other in the field of advocacy, I call it, because we do a lot of things. So I wanted to bring you on to talk a little bit about you as an
Sure.
empowered woman. So what do you do? And you can start with one because you do a ton of things. You can start with one.
I am the founder and executive director of Andrea's House, which is transitional living for women and children. Women are recovering from substance use disorders and trauma. We allow them to stay there with their children. If they have CPS involvement, foster care, anything like that, we help reunify the mothers with their children, and we help them to stay sober as well. And so we put those two together and we help them to become better mothers, better women, and also to sustain in long-term sobriety. So it's really cool.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
And you've done a lot of this. So like you've been in
Yes.
the field as a nonprofit, right?
So I started the nonprofit about 6.5 years ago, but I have about 15 years in the field of substance abuse. So I've been doing this for a while. Yeah.
Right on. And of course, as always, I also work in the field, so we are just delighted to have people that want to do these types of
Yes.
things.
Yes.
It's a very difficult area of expertise. So they feel
Yes,
sometimes
it
I'm like,
is.
why did I decide to do this?
Yeah.
Like what? Especially if you're a nonprofit, I think being a nonprofit is hard
Yes.
to do.
Yes, it is.
So what made you decide to go into this field?
And it's not a secret. I'm in long-term sobriety. And when I first got sober, my son was 10 months old. And I remember how difficult it was. Just the having to make the decisions between going to a meeting or being with my son, or
Mm.
paying for diapers and having to go here, for a job interview. It was so hard. And by the grace of God, I had great support from my family, but I realized that a lot of people do not. And so when I got in the field, I started working with families. And what I realized is that we were sending women back to the same areas, that they were in active addiction, that they were traumatized, that they were abused. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so, really, that's where it started. I just started praying about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I know I'm nuts, but I'm just gonna do it. And so here we are. And really that's what it came from. It's just trying to meet that need to not send moms somewhere that they know that they're not gonna thrive.
Oh yeah, and I think there's different schools of thought on this, but I think that women in recovery or in that space that need recovery do have special
Yeah.
needs. It's not the same,
Yeah.
and we always have these programs and treatments that seem to say like they're both the same and they're not the same. How would you say that it's different for those women, for women versus men going through that as far as what they need?
You said that perfectly, Julie, because I think that's one of my biggest frustrations in doing this is that the same expectations are put on a mother with one child or multiple children as in a single person. And what they don't realize is there's got to be daycare. There's got to be a lot of things that go into place in order for a mother to be able to thrive. So, whereas a single man or woman could just get up and go to IOP, get up and go to a mental health therapy appointment. Well, what happens when you have a baby or a toddler attached to your hip?
Oh yeah.
That becomes a little bit more difficult. And now we're living in this crazy time where, as of May 31st, childcare vouchers were taken. So we just took a very, very bad situation and we just lit it on fire. It is really, really crazy right now.
Oh, I agree with
Really
that. When you
crazy.
hear the stuff about the state insurance
Mhm.
and
Yep.
just programs in general, funding cuts, we've all experienced that.
Yep.
They're just not, or maybe they are grasping the point that it's going to obliterate
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
It's destroying all the work we've been doing for years.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
that's and being a nonprofit now is even harder than I think it's ever been
Yeah.
for that reason.
Yeah.
Because this all came from heart. This came from your soul. Like I get really testy when someone tries to, attack that.
It's
'Cause I'm like,
hard.
man, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into that. You better like
Absolutely.
step
A
back
lot of
because
sacrifice.
and we're stronger for it.
Yeah.
But those needs I think are different, and it's and we've actually done programs within your houses, and I always say it's and I've gone out and I've spoken to women in these houses, and there is a different thing they need. There's even differences when it comes to connection
Mhm.
and when it comes to, just basic structure and support. It's different. You can't just get that anywhere else. So it's wonderful that we have those very
Yes.
specific transitional programs, because otherwise that they're not going to get it anywhere else. Is you talk about balancing all the balls, and I honestly, like, outside of recovery and all of that, like, that's just a fight that we fight, period.
Yes.
We have been fighting that for years, and I swear I think that it makes, like, when you get older those like symptoms worse, because we weren't like designed to carry everything, but we do.
Yes. We do.
So like we're carrying, the household stuff, the kids, the professionals, like every level
And it's an expectation for us to do so.
in a way.
So, one of the things we talk about a lot with the women at Andrea's house is what do you feel like you're expected to do as a woman? Well, you're expected to carry the kids, obviously, to take care of the kids, to drop them off, to make sure they're okay. And just that amount of stress on a new parent,
Hmm.
I don't think anyone realizes making doctor's appointments, going to childcare, making sure we all know a new baby, they're all different,
Oh,
trying to figure out the needs. And so, those expectations that we're not only supposed to be moms, but great moms, we're supposed to know exactly what our kids need and want. It's overwhelming for people at times. It's very overwhelming.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go and add a career, or having to put your wants or needs on hold. There's another level. you know, s- Psychologically, it's heavy.
Right.
And I always joke about like emasculating and stuff like that. And we've talked about that a little bit on here. And I'm always like, okay, so, I have a difference of opinion on it. Being that professional, empowered,
Right.
leading female, I have a hard time with that concept because, like you mentioned, expectations.
Mhm.
Okay. So we're expected to be the nurturer,
Mhm.
the feminine energy, and all of that. But we're also expected to take care of the other side at times.
That's right.
And I'm like, all right, let's just get it clear. That means you want us to be everything.
That's right. And that's exactly what that expectation equates to is everything.
And that drains energy.
automatically. Just the thought of me hearing that drains my energy, let
I know.
alone for me to get up
It
and
makes me
start doing.
cringe a little.
Yes.
But you
Right.
get into these fields, okay, so like we go after what we want. We're strong, empowered women. We're told you need to be soft, you need to be strong. I realized that we can do both. We can, but I think it's this concept that we are expected
Yes.
to be is what makes that so heavy. Like that we have to.
You could not say that better. I know that as a woman, I'm capable of doing many things.
Mm.
I've proven that time and time again. There's millions of strong women, right? Everywhere. But when I feel compelled to do something, opposed to when you're telling me I have to do something, well, you're automatically going to get a different work ethic. You're going to get a different response every time because I know my responsibilities as a woman. But let me figure out those things for myself. Let me fall into my role. Don't tell me what my role is.
I find when you get older is when those types of things start to come into focus. And that's what makes it different. And it's funny because you do like it's at 40 mark, like 40 happens, and all of a sudden stuff starts to change. And I was always like totally okay with carrying all of it. But as I've gotten older, I go, you know what? Well, number one, I don't have to. Which is great. Like this is great when you get to that point where you're like, screw that. I
Yeah.
really don't have to. But when you have been expected for so long, or when nobody shows up to do it and you're kind of like almost like forced to, you just get like
Yes.
you almost are like, okay, this is power. It's really not. But I think when you get older, you start to see that. You start to see that like, man, we weren't created to carry all this. Where the hell is everybody
That's
else?
right.
You know?
Right.
And so, I think that empowered women get a bad rap in a lot of ways. I don't think it's because like we want to own everything. I think we just want what we deserve.
That's right. And what we've worked so hard for. I
Yeah.
don't think that's asking a lot. I don't.
Hell no, it's not. Like, go ahead and try to step in these shoes.
Hmm.
Try walking around in these for a minute. Like
It's
it
a
is
lot.
it definitely is. And do you think that in your position, like for like career wise, there's a difference being a woman versus a man? And like what would that difference be? I know that there are, but like specifically in this field, and you can even like even just being a business owner or a nonprofit owner, or it's really not an owner, but you know what I mean, like running those and in the recovery world.
So I am very vocal about this, and I know that some people shy away from this topic and this conversation. There is absolutely a difference being a woman in leadership, and I'm not shy to say that. And I'll even take it a step further and say there's a difference of being a black woman in leadership. Um, Whereas when I get passionate about something, okay, you already know what's coming behind that of what I'm called, and it's because I've worked very hard to get to where I am. And I do a lot of times, men will try to control my career or try to tell me what to do. And, in my 30s, I would have, went and cried in the corner and, it would have been a pity party. In my 40s, I just don't have time for it.
Yeah.
I know who I am. I'm confident in who I am, and I'm unapologetically Carleah at all times. And so you can try to control my career, but it's not going to work. It's just not. I won't allow anybody to take credit for what God has done through me and in me, and I just won't. And so if that ruffles feathers, it's okay. But I stand
It is.
firm, on who I am, and don't insult me because I'm a woman and tell me that I can't do what you can do, because I'll prove you wrong every
Oh
single
yeah,
time.
we'll die trying.
Absolutely.
Like that's
No question about it.
where do you think you got that?
I get it. A lot of it, I was raised by strong black women. In the Black culture, women are the backbone of the family, period. We are the ones that hold the family together. So a lot of that is generational and it's learned, cultural. A lot of that too is from taking so many punches and stabs to the chest and the back. It's you you become firm in your no, and you
Yeah.
know what works and what doesn't, and also you also realize you don't have to go along with everything.
No.
When I first got nonprofit, I was like, no one knows me, I need to say yes to everything, I need to do this, and
Oh my
and you're like, and then before you know it, you're in something with somebody that just
Oh yeah.
you should have never been partnered with because you're not seasoned enough. You don't know what's going on, and I'm not there anymore. So now I know
Oh
what's
yeah.
coming. I see it when it's coming. I know how to block it. I know how to redirect it if I need to. And I know just to stand firm on what Carleah stands for.
I totally get that. After, when you're starting something and you are struggling and you're trying to like figure out your path, sometimes you do say yes
Yeah.
to things that you're like,
Why?
damn. Like, or it's
Yeah.
it's something totally different than what
Yeah.
you thought. You start to see those things and it's insane. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to get out of.
It is.
Um, but we all make those mistakes and I think that they're okay. And I think when you get older, you start to realize how
Yeah.
okay that is. But you mentioned something that's very relatable to me, and it's finding out who the hell you are. And
Mhm.
I think it takes that long.
Yeah.
It's sad that it takes that long.
Yes.
But I think with everything going on and the things that happen to us and the traumas and the challenges that we have, it's what teaches you who you are if you're aware,
Right.
if you can become aware of what that is. But then also knowing what you want. Like, I wrote it all down. They've heard me talk about this. I did. I decided after 40 and I started feeling those things, becoming aware. I started putting it, on paper. And I was like, I'm writing a manual to myself about and like all the things I'm working on and what somebody else will consider a fault. I'm totally accepting these things. This is gonna be an
Yeah.
acceptance thing. And no, I don't give a shit if the house is super clean.
Mhm.
You don't care anymore. You just because it's not what's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
What do you think we start to focus on versus our when we're focused on things when we're younger versus now?
So to dive a little deeper into that, so 2 years ago, I got food poisoning from a fast food restaurant from a tomato. And
Oh,
something so simple changed the outcourse of my life. I've always been told I go too fast. I mean, I move at 1,000 miles per hour, and that I couldn't hide that if I wanted to. That's the truth. Um, but this happened and it just rocked my world. It ended up taking me. I was in and out of the hospital for a year
mhm.
and a half. And it ended up wiping out my entire immune system. And so it made it so I had to sit down. And in January of this year, I had part of my colon removed
Oh my
due
gosh.
to the strain it attacked my system. And so I do monthly infusions now, which is, indicates the short hair. And so when I look back to 2 years ago, I realize how incredibly dumb I was. And that's just the most blunt way to say it. There are so many more things that are important in life than just running around and being busy. But it was like, what
Right.
are you doing though? Honestly, what are you doing? You're doing all of this. You're gone at 8 in the morning. You're not back home until 8, 9 o'clock at night. But what did you accomplish?
Yeah.
And when I really had that time in the hospital and at home after surgery to think about that, it was like, you're doing nothing. That's what you're doing. You're
Yeah.
doing nothing because you're spending time with all these people that don't matter. They're not here to help you further your mission. It's just another picture to take. it's another social media post.
No, I
And
got you there.
it just really gave me time to have some self-reflection that I had just been neglecting myself and my family, trying to help other people when I wasn't even helping the people closest to me.
Or
So
yourself.
for myself,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's that awareness that we teach. I say that a lot. I'll be like, whenever it's like my staff or any of us and I hear them say something, I'll be like, we teach that class. Take a knee. Let's
Right,
remember
right,
that we teach this.
right.
We preach this, we have to do it. We have to be that
Yes,
in it, but that's hard.
it
So
is.
so how is that going? Like I know there's these moments in our lives that hopefully change us,
Yeah.
and struggles like that is incredibly traumatic. I'm sorry that you even had to deal with that.
I'm grateful for it today. And that I would say that's one of my best character traits is I can see the positive in anything. Literally, it can be the worst situation ever, and I can pick a positive out of it. And in this situation, the positive is I realigned my priorities. That was the lesson from this whole storm. And now I can't go back because now I know what I was
Yeah.
missing. You know what I mean? So I'm taking that time with my daughter, I'm
Yeah.
taking that time with my husband, my son's in college right now, but just taking that time to be mom and to be a wife and to be friend and daughter, and sister, all these titles I have, but they just get pushed to the side when nonprofit comes into play. It's what I live and
Oh,
breathe every
yeah.
day. Yeah.
And that's really hard. It looks so glamorous. Some people
Doesn't
are
it?
like, wow, man, I wish they see all these things. And I'm like, the work that it has
Man.
taken, that we sacrifice ourselves, our families,
Yes.
our relationships. It's not easy to do. And that it's always good when you get to a point where you have that awareness, like, I'm taking five. Okay.
Right.
And I don't give a shit
Yeah.
what anybody else ever
Right.
thinks. This whole place can fall
You
to the
need a
ground.
break.
And I'm taking it.
Yeah.
I take my reset button in
Right.
the Caribbean. So like that's what I do, I'm like, but there's these moments where
Right.
work would get like super busy. Actually, when we had massive like cuts
Mhm.
last summer, and Corey's like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do those. Like, well, I'll be there. Like,
Mhm.
you can stay here if like that's what you want. I'm like, that's my time.
Right. That's
Like
right.
that look on my
That's
face. It
right.
was like
Scary.
scary. Like, am I gonna say anything else? I was like,
Yes.
oh, we're gonna find the time.
You have to.
Okay. Like I was like, we'll take that
Mhm.
with us. I've literally
That's
taken
right.
work with me if I had to, but like learning how like that's a priority.
Right.
Like you and the people you love. It is, but it's hard, especially
It
when you're starting
is.
out.
It is.
I think
It
when you're
is.
younger, you take all of that for granted, or it's just when I started this, it was out of necessity. I needed, to reinvent myself. I needed to build this career,
Right.
but we feel bad about it. I always felt bad about it. I always felt like, when you've got all those balls in the air and you're
Mhm.
trying to be
Mhm.
successful, I feel bad about neglecting other things or sacrificing
Yeah.
other things. And then we go, okay, I gotta go over here, and then I gotta go over here, and then I'm so damn tired, I can't go anywhere.
And I can identify with that right now. I'm in that season where I'm so tired. I just literally peopling is a lot for me right now, and it's hard for people to understand juggling, yeah, health, nonprofit, family, all of these things, and I'm a leader in church. So juggling all these things, it's a lot. And right now I'm learning who Carleah is again. Carleah with no hair, Carleah with diet restrictions, Carleah now with a, health diagnosis. I'm learning who I am again, and some people are giving me the grace to do that and some people aren't, and I'm okay with those that aren't. I'm absolutely okay with that.
I think everyone should be celebrating that because I think we almost like die 100 deaths throughout our lifetime. We evolve and we grieve that former self. We move past it. We said, where am I right now in this space?
Yeah.
Mindfulness. So like it's a concept
Yeah.
where we can start to understand our challenges and how it's changed us and how do you that's kind of sad. I've grieved and I've said, damn, it's so much easier back then. like, like, or I
Yes.
wish this. But then you start to say, okay, but here's the good part
Yeah.
of being here,
Mhm.
and then you can learn from that. And it's funny because in this work, and just in life in general, I've heard, younger women basically say we're not relevant. So, and I would jokingly say we're more relevant than you could possibly imagine
Absolutely.
because we have the power to do whatever we want, reinvent ourselves at any time. So basically, what you're kind of describing is a reinvention.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
applaud it. I think it's
Thank you.
great because, and yeah, you need the space to do that, and the support to do that. That's okay.
Thank you for that, Julie, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm reinventing myself. I've been put in a box. That's what I keep saying. I've been put in this box, and I call it the Andrea's house box. It's just stay in that box, and it's like, but I have all these gifts and these talents, right? That need to be shared with other people. And Andrea's house will always be my baby. It will always be my
You sound
legacy.
like me right
You
now.
know, it will always be my baby because I put so much blood, sweat, and tears into that organization. However, those blood, sweat, and tears have come to an organization that's able to function, without
Yeah,
Carleah. And there's other things that eventually I'm gonna go on and do. And so I gotta come out the box, and
do.
that is the hardest thing in the world to do when people know you for one thing and want you to stay in that.
Typecast.
Yes. Yes. It's hard.
You're literally sitting here because of my reinvention.
Yeah.
And I think it's wonderful. And we
Love it.
bring a lot of people in here that have done that. And that message that you can't drives me nuts. I don't even like that word, unless it's a boundary. No, I don't think so. But no, we have to do that. And if it's something that's calling to us, I don't care if it's learning art or like anything.
Yeah.
I think we should be able to do whatever the hell we want whenever.
Yes.
I'm hoping I'm like, in my 80s still ziplining through the jungle. So, I've got to do those things.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do when you're immersed
It is.
in that career.
Mhm.
Like you feel like you can't leave it. I know all about the nonprofit being your baby. I'm in my transition to like reinvent.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, there's so much more I want to do
Yeah.
and I want to give. So I think it's wonderful. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to do something different and it won't be far off because families, I love working with families. But this is a model that isn't across the country.
Are you gonna tell me what it is?
It just is. I am. I can't sit here and not tell
Well,
you.
you just brought it up. I'm like, I'm gonna ask you. So
So, I'm gonna be starting Queen Vision Consulting, and what I'll be doing is traveling the country to help open other women and children houses.
nice.
I've done so in an unofficial capacity for about 2 years now, and so I'm already doing it. And this just allows me to be more hands-on and to walk people through those fears that I didn't have anybody, to tell me it's going to be okay to get through this. It's very scary. Anything which you're doing with children, there's way more layers of rules and expectations and I want to encourage people to do this, not scare them. Because when I got ready to do this, I was told you can't do this. People have tried to do that and couldn't. I mean, it just went on and on and on. And I don't want anybody to feel like that. I want them to know if you have the heart for this and you're willing to stick through this, you can absolutely do it. And on top of that, you're going to be helping to save some women and their children.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think it's really great. It's funny because I'm doing a lot of the same
Yeah.
thing. And I think it's great because we don't have to start another of the same thing. Like it's like our thing as we transition
Right.
into,
Mhm.
these older years, because I'm a lifer, man.
Yeah.
Like in some capacity, I'm gonna be
Absolutely.
a lifer. So I thought, I said the same thing. Why not help other people?
Yes.
Like let's export our knowledge. We don't have to recreate anything. Like just help other people, and that's the beauty of that. Like take our knowledge, make it useful. That's why I'm saying like we're more relevant,
Yes.
you know just like going through menopause. A lot of our parents didn't tell us about that.
Right.
Um or moms didn't actually like tell us. Now we're talking.
Right.
And I think the women that have been through it, that's who you learn from.
Yes. That's
It's the
right.
same thing in recovery, right? Who is the best person to learn from? Why are peers so vital? It's because they freaking know what you've been through.
They are so vital. Peers, I hope you hear me when I say this. I started off as a peer. The most valuable individuals in the recovery community are peers. No question about it. No question about it. Front lines.
Absolutely.
We're always on the front lines.
Exactly. And so anything like that, no matter what field it is, whoever went before you and was successful, that is who you want to surround yourself with. So I always say when people ask, like, is it only for women over 40? Well, no, because we're just supporting each other,
That's
telling old
it.
stories.
That's it.
This is all the
That's
worst
it.
stories. But there's something really powerful in that. And women, I think, do it well.
Yes.
We can do this so well. Now we have that whole other side where where they don't support each other, which is just garbage.
Mhm.
Um, there is no competition here. I mean, I know you and I have both seen it
Uh,
in the advocacy world,
yeah.
in business.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. I think it's insane.
Mhm.
Somebody tells me that there's not room for more help in the recovery world, you're crazy.
There's plenty of room.
Yeah, there's plenty of room.
There's plenty of room for all of
What?
us.
So it's but that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
We
I
should
agree.
be kind of growing into other things and also showing like a younger generation that it's completely okay to try something new.
Yeah.
No matter how old you are. It doesn't matter. Like try something new if you want and like be able to kind of evolve it to yourself.
Mhm. I agree. And I also, one of the things that's really important for me as my 10-year-old daughter is for her to see me not quit.
Of course.
I have done a lot of things in my career and I've been through a lot of things and I've learned a lot of hard lessons in my career, about boundaries, about, just what it is to be in leadership as a whole. I mean, that's a whole lesson in itself. And the one thing I always want her to know is follow your heart. If my heart is calling me to do something, I don't allow people to tell me that's all you can do. No, that's all you can do. I just don't put limits on being able to help people just like you said. And as a visionary, that to me that is my worst fear is being stuck somewhere and not being able to use my gifts and my talents. So
Right.
I completely understand what you're saying. I can't even imagine that. I can't.
And I have like, excuse me, I have the craziest ideas, and I'll be like, so I'm just saying, like, I'm really not going to take a bite out of the apple. I'm just going to get the whole thing. Like,
Yes.
let's just do the whole thing.
Yes.
Like, I've had some crazy ideas, but here's how I always look at it. I say, I was told before that the Prisoners' Rights Coalition, or that I was crazy to do, the nonprofit. I was crazy to do this. This is never going to work. Okay, not even a year later, this is all up and running and this is happening. And I said, never mind the massive struggle to get there, but there's joy in that. There's
Right.
joy in that struggle. There's a reason why
Yes.
we are struggling, and I feel like if it's handed to you, ain't no good.
That's it.
If
And
you are
that's
not scraping and crawling
that's
towards that
right.
goal,
That's right.
it is not going to feed
It's
you.
not meant to happen. Anything worth having, you have to sacrifice for, you have to. And I could not agree more. It is just, I come up with some of the wildest things, and God love my husband. He's like, okay, he always has my back, and that's a great thing, because I can never stop coming up with ways to help. There's
Oh yeah.
so many different things, and it's only crazy until you do it, right?
Well, I just think it's perspective.
That's
It's
it.
only crazy to some
It's
people.
it JRA was crazy until
Oh
JRA
yeah.
became JRA.
Or like, you'll never pass that bill.
Yeah,
All right, go ahead.
yeah.
Like I welcome it. I'll be like, bring it on. Please tell me I can't do that, because I will, like, please tell me I can't climb that, because I'll be up there
A
with one
million,
hand.
a million no's, a million no's to open Andrea's house. And when that house finally opened, I remember just crying
Yeah.
for like a week straight, because we had to jump so many hurdles and overcome so many things to get that house open. Down to the week before it was to open, they told us we had to put in a $10,000 sprinkler system. And I just remember saying, there's no way. And we were able to do it. And so it's something to be said about willpower, man. If you really want to do
Oh, yeah.
something, you can do it. And that's my whole goal, is helping people chase their dreams. You can absolutely do this, but how hard are you willing to work?
Well, I think that we have a society that has shifted towards not an unwillingness to put in that effort.
I agree.
And what's really frustrating about that, not only just seeing it, I'm more of like a tough love person. It's always funny, like my assistant Carrie, she's the nice one. Because I'll just be like, you don't want it.
Right.
If you get up and you want a glass of milk, you're gonna go get a glass of milk, right? If you really want something, it doesn't matter what it's gonna take. But man, those, stumbles and things like that, and it starts to feel like everything is crashing. I always say it's okay to take a knee.
Mhm.
You just don't set up camp there.
That's it.
Like, you don't build a foundation, you don't move in, you just
I have a
you take a knee.
rule. You have 24 hours to throw yourself a pity party. In those 24 hours, you can scream, you can cry, you can kick your feet, you can isolate and do whatever you want. But when those 24 hours are up, it's game time. It's back one. It's sucking it up. It's doing what needs to be done, because pity parties don't help people.
It doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. But that goes for everything.
Yes.
The work that it takes to go into, and I see this as a topic that I see myself very differently than in my younger years, was relationships.
Yes.
Holy crap, the work that it takes to go to do that. And you definitely need to have, if you're in this kind of field, you're doing this kind of work, um you definitely have to have someone that has your back,
Yes.
because yes, the crazy ideas, the long
Yeah.
hours, the I have
Yeah.
no idea what you just said to me, because I need to finish this, like,
Right.
or the phone calls constantly. I'm very, like, I'm in a place now that has definitely died down. I have staff that take a lot of that off my plate. I remember what it was like though. And that I'm like,
It's a lot.
wow. Like, I can't, I remember, calls from the jails, or like
Mhm.
wherever, or every client,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, whew, I better get some funding soon so I can get some staff to take care of this, because it was my whole life.
Yeah.
And but that understanding that that's who you are, and to be there to say, I'm going to support you, and then you have to do the work to support them. It's all a thing.
Yes. It
It's
is.
like a million little jobs.
You just said that, and I swear that just resonated with me. That the phone calls in the beginning, I think it almost ended my marriage. I mean, it got to the point where it was so bad where I didn't even say I'm sorry anymore because it just wasn't gonna cut it. You know, it was so crazy. The calls were coming in overnight. And that's where those expectations come in, right? You're
Oh,
expected to
yeah.
answer those calls all the time. You're expected to be up. Meanwhile, you got to answer to the general public, and they have no idea that you're functioning off little to no sleep. You're trying to help people get into treatment, out of treatment, into sober house. I mean, it is absolute chaos.
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't call it anything else. And then by the time you get home, you're a frazzled mess
Oh, yeah.
from doing that all day long.
And you're expected not to be.
That's correct.
Society expects you
That's
not to be. Like, I need to wash these dishes and cry.
yes.
Like, okay, like, but you're not supposed to be
Exactly.
doing that. You go in the
Exactly.
bathroom. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Shower.
Why the hell? I don't know.
Yeah.
No more.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna cry right here in the grocery store. And I don't give a shit. Like, it's like, it's fine.
It's hard. And that's you saying relationships, as you get older. One of the things my husband and I talk about a lot is I lost a lot of friendships from doing Andrea's house. And boy, do you get a thick layer of skin. I'm telling you from doing this because I don't ever say this person's right, this person's wrong. I believe we all have our own perspectives
Yes.
and our own truths and our story. And so I don't ever say that this person is, whatever. That's their truth and mine is mine. But the one thing I'm very proud of, Julie, is that as a woman now in my 40s, I do not seek to tear down other women. That is something that is really important to me. It doesn't matter how upset I get with anybody. It doesn't matter what anyone does to me. Today, I will never try to tear another woman down publicly. She has her own identity, her career, probably family, maybe a husband. It's a ripple effect. And the
Oh,
things
yeah.
that people have done to me have not only affected me, but they've affected my family, my children, and
Yes.
that's the price you pay for what you do in this field. And people don't understand that. And so I love that you said that because growing up and understanding relationships, you can people have seasons sometimes, and everybody's not meant to be in your life for a lifetime. But I don't have to tear another person down because there's seasons up in my life. I
Oh,
don't have to do that today.
oh, for sure. That's like a whole, I mean, that's why they have relationship therapy.
Yeah.
Because it's an entire
Yeah.
situation. And one of the things I know that we both are involved with teaching when it
Mhm.
comes to recovery,
Yeah.
but it actually applies to everyone, is taking your baggage into relationships,
Yes.
healing your
Yes.
traumas, a lot of the personal responsibility and accountability that
Yeah.
you have to be in a relationship
Mhm.
of any kind.
Yeah.
I personally don't think people should be tearing each other down publicly at all. This whole airing dirty laundry is an embarrassment, and it's so far. I would say that's down there.
Mhm.
I'm not doing that.
Mhm.
Every once in a blue moon, I'll rant on social.
Mhm.
We're clearly here. But it's not a rant that's like picking at
Correct.
someone. It's
Correct.
about, here's a concept really bothers me. But like, yeah, like, as of recent, we've seen how public interactions can, like, and the first thing I think about when I see something like that is their family, or like what's happening and what kind of like mental destruction, and I think it's about people not being mindful of their actions, and then everyone reacting to it is not being mindful of that reaction. We're worried about the people that, like, what about that ripple effect?
That's right. And I think because unless, Julie, you've been in the public eye and you know what it's like to have people say those things or to put those expectations, you can't fully grasp what that feels like. If you've never had anyone do that to you,
I
we have a different soft spot We do, because I will never do that to another person. I will
No,
never ever, because it is brutal. It's
it's
brutal.
awful, and it makes people not want to speak their truth. It makes people
Absolutely.
not want to. And I remember when I first heard that you had told me a certain thing you were gonna do, and I just remember my heart is like, God, please be careful.
Mhm.
Be
Mhm.
careful of the vultures.
Mhm.
Be careful of what it turns you into. Like, don't adjust. You know what I mean? Like, as it does. And I've been in there in that space. I'm still in that space,
Mhm.
and people can say whatever the hell they want, I don't care.
Mhm.
Like, thank God I'm older. This would have killed me like
Yes.
many, many years ago. But yeah, it's an awful thing to do. And they can have their opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah, have it.
We're all entitled to one.
Sit it until you're pretty. I don't really care. Like, but at the same respect, it's hurtful, especially when you have a really good mission, when you're trying to do something really, really well, and everything is from your heart and soul,
Yeah.
and then people say things or do things, especially when it's public,
Mhm.
it is hurtful.
Yeah.
And we sit down for that minute,
Mhm.
that 24 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try very hard to be supportive, not competitive.
Mhm.
I don't think that we need to be.
No, we don't. And it's in the beginning, I said that you don't, you're trying to find anybody that'll help you, and boy do you learn, you bump your head and learn the hard way that any help is not good help. You really need, you need to be selective about who you're asking for help. And
And
I
where you surround yourself around.
absolutely, and that's the thing today. I'm surrounded by kind-hearted, loving people. I'm not surrounded by people who rather talk about other people than talk about ideas. I don't hang out with people like that. When I'm around my friends and my family, we're talking about how we can grow ourselves or other people. We're not gossiping about who did what, and it really shows you a person's level and their maturity of what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Are you talking about other people? This is not high school. I don't care what Bob and his wife did last week,
Exactly.
I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, let's
So
talk about, something that has some substance to it. Let's talk about life. Let's talk about learning something.
exactly.
I love that. I talk about, like, Corey and I would talk about it all the time, like politics, but not politics. We
Mhm.
talk about like underlying like problems, and you know, let's dissect our thoughts, or or even we'll even talk about like things like UFOs, and we'll just
Yes.
like, but it's always like something.
Not another person.
Yeah, like
Yes.
it's, and I even said once, I was like, do you think other people sit around and talk about like is it just us as like nerding out on like stuff like this, or how this
You
works, or
talk about what means the most to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's I just think it's important, I do. We can talk about anything, the dog, I
Oh,
just
yeah.
don't want to talk about people when I get home. I don't. I don't know if you feel that way, but
Well, but you've people enough
yes,
for the day.
literally.
Yeah.
Or maybe for the week in one day.
Yeah, sometimes I'm gonna be honest, and admit to, I don't want to hear any more problems. Like, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, it makes complete
it
sense.
all
Yeah,
day.
literally.
Can we literally just talk about how beautiful that
Yeah.
tree is over there?
Or how sunny it is, or
Yeah,
anything. Absolutely.
anything
I
but
feel the same way. It's
mental
exhausting.
health.
It,
Like, I do not want to talk about it. You want to disconnect because you've been doing it, and that's our
it's
job,
yeah.
and helping people is our job, and but it's part of our soul. But yeah, you do that all day,
Yeah.
or you put out fires all day. One thing is, this is broken. Now I got to come over here and do this. There's a deadline. Now there's a meeting for this. You're balancing all that stuff, man. When you get home, you're just like, shh,
That's right.
shh.
That
I've even done that. I've been like,
don't
shh.
talk.
You know, I'm taking a bath. I'm gonna have like 5 minutes.
Yes.
I'm gonna meditate, and I don't
Yes.
want to hear shit
That's
about
it.
anything
I
bad.
just want you to be quiet.
Yep.
And that, I say to my daughter all the time, I just aspire to go to the bathroom alone, like just some little things in life. I just want to be by myself for just 10 minutes. Just even 10 minutes, I'll take it. But at the same time, it's just like,
I think women feel that
yeah,
everywhere. Like,
yes.
just give me 5 minutes of peace.
Which helps me to really help the women at the house because I get it. I've been
Yes.
there. I get it through and through. And I'll watch their kids so they can go to IOP or they can take a shower. I get it. I do. I get
We
it.
need that
Yes.
bad.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
Carleah, thank you so much. I'm so glad I got a chance to have you on and to get to see you again.
Yeah.
Because yeah, again, it's been forever. And again, we let that happen way, 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 way too much.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing everything. Thank you for showing everyone about resilience and hard work
Thank you
and
for having
strength.
me.
It takes a lot of courage to have accomplished the things that you have. And man, I wish you all the best in your reinvention. I'm here to support you with whatever.
Thank you.
So make sure that you give me all this information so
Absolutely.
I can make sure that it goes in the description for this podcast so anyone can reach out to you because will be doing them a really big service.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please let us know what you think in the comments or send us a message if you're watching on YouTube. Please make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing helps us tremendously. You can also listen on Apple, Spotify, and a whole bunch of other platforms. Excuse me. And you can find more information at allgreatthingsllc.life. Thank you again, and can't wait to see you back here next time on All Things Think.
You gotta get out there and explore. Baby, let your love